With all the contrasting opinions on social media these days, it makes you wonder, can Americans actually talk civilly about some of these complex issues facing our country?
That is the goal of Free Speech Nebraska. Their public forum is designed to get people off the internet and foster civil discussions face to face.
Joining us today, Associate Professor at Bellevue University, Rick Galusha. Rick, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
You know, you see it all over social media. There's a lot of negativity and there's some polarization. There's all kinds of opinions out there. How do you view this, and how would you sum it up?
Well, I think what you see is politics has become a team sport, and you see people that want to participate, but I think the models that they see in the media, not cable media generally speaking, they sell conflict. And I think people are trying to engage, but the model they have is conflict, and they don't understand is that what we need to do is have a civil discussion, because this is what builds community, by people having a calm discussion about issues that are important to them with people that see the world differently. That builds trust. Trust builds community, and then that gives us a society that we ideally want to live in.
And that's what Free Speech Nebraska is all about.
Right.
Explain the mission behind that.
Well, at Bellevue University, all the undergraduate students take a civics course called the Kirkpatrick Signature Series. And as a part of that series, they do a service learning project. So this is a service learning project for quite a number of students. And the idea, or the ethos behind that, is how do we get people in a room together to talk with others that see the world differently than they do, but they do it in an environment that's safe, that's not caustic. And those are rare rooms anymore. And so what we're going to try to do is see if we can bring people together, get them to talk, get them to share ideas and thoughts and concerns, and create more trust and a better community.
With the shootings down in South Florida, obviously a big topic of conversation on social media. What type of topics will you be discussing at that?
Well, I had to bring my cheat sheet in, but we tried to pick 5 different topics so that when people show up, there's something that they'll be interested in. So we picked DACA and immigration as one. There's some concern, particularly coming out of the White House, about the authenticity of journalism in the media. So fake media, which I apologize for the term. Voter ID, voter fraud, and gerrymandering's a third one. There's some proposals to change marijuana laws, so some of the students wanted to talk about that one. And then last but not least, an issue that conservatives are probably pretty interested in, which is the Article 5 Convention of the States issue. And so we'll have those 5 topics.
Gotcha.
Well, it all sounds very interesting.
It'll be engaging.
It does.
Well, it's the civic engagement part.
Yes.
Is so important. Why is that so important to our society?
Well, what you see, and this is a guy named Robert Putnam, he wrote a book you may have heard of called Bowling Alone. And what you see in American society is people pulling away from engagement. And as they pull away, they don't get to know their neighbors really. And so they'll fill in the blanks of what they do know about their neighbors. And so this creates an environment of distrust, because you don't really know your neighbor, and so you don't know what their motivations or what they believe. And by getting people to engage, they realize, I talked to Bob, Bob's a good guy, I kind of like Bob. And so by building that trust, that sense of social capital again, rebuilding that, you develop community. And that's what I think is missing. And social media largely deprives us of that with so much interaction, but a lack of emotion in that.
Well, if you would like to attend Free Speech Nebraska Public Forum, that is this Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon at Bellevue University in the Hitchcock Building. It's free and open to the public. Do you want people to register before they come, or can they just show up?
Well, they can just show up. Ideally, they could go to the website to register, and that's available. If you Google it, it'll pop right up. But they can show up and register at 8:30. We have coffee and rolls, and people can congregate. And then at 9 o'clock, the events begin, and we break into the 5 groups.
You bring up some good topics. I compare social media like road rage, right? When you're driving, if you know your neighbor, you're going to engage in a civil discussion. Where if you're driving, you don't know who the other driver is, you can have a little bit of road rage. But if you knew who was behind the wheel, you may not.
Exactly, and interaction builds trust.
It does.
And that's the important thing.
Thanks for your time this morning. We appreciate it.